Rush Hour podcast. We're back. Big week with the SpaceX IPO actually happening today as we speak. It's up 25%. We've got an Anthropic launch and we got a new LinkedIn product feature. Let's get into it. But let's start with the big news. SpaceX IPOs 135 is now a $2 trillion company. It's up like 20% as we're talking about it now. What are your thoughts? What are you seeing, Justin?
I mean, what a time to be alive, man. I mean, this is the hottest IPO that's literally ever happened on the markets. Today is the day we're living through a historical time. I think it's like the second highest one. I think was like Saudi Aramco when that went live, and this is kind of like 2x the valuation of that, which is insane, and it just speaks to whatever you feel about Elon, like what he's accomplished has been pretty phenomenal, just across all the different companies, and he's become the world's first trillionaire, which is kind of an insane thing to say. I think we talked about it a little bit on the last pod about whether or not this would actually happen, but it's occurred. He's become the world's first trillionaire, which is pretty wild.
It is.
What can you say, man? I mean, there was a tremendous retail interest in the IPO. In particular, I think they allocate about 30% for retail. And, as you were saying, it's all like the market hasn't closed yet. It was last time I saw it was like a 25% increase from their initial listing price. And I know it's kind of fluctuating in that 160th range, but it made me think it's not quite necessarily the same analog, but it kind of made me think a little bit about Amazon and when that company IPO'd and the investment that and the long tail on the long horizon that investors were comfortable with in terms of investing in that company, a net loss for a long time. And then, Amazon as the company is today. I think it's a similar play with SpaceX where it's like, hey, can it really justify a true $1 trillion valuation? Maybe not necessarily right now, but what investors are looking for is kind of like the long-term play of strides in AI, all of their inroads into space, everything they're doing with the satellites, et cetera. So it's a very, it's a very exciting time. It's a very exciting time, like out here in the Valley. But we'll see where this goes. It's really an investment in a long term bet of the future of the company, and bringing together all of those businesses, Starlink and Tesla. Tesla maybe ultimately, and everything else.
Yeah, it seems like the rules around, all of the different shareholders not selling and keeping and not flipping, because it was such a large, 75 billion they raised. It seems like a lot of people are listening and holding. So maybe the volume actually traded is not as high as we had thought, but either way, it's very impressive. I was worried it was going to tank when the market would follow, but it's been great. And this sets the stage for Anthropic and OpenAI, right? Biggest IPO, the biggest trio of IPOs ever. I mean, this is the first one, but the next two are just as big, aren't they?
Yeah, no, I think that we'll see. There's been so much invested in this company now. I think it puts a lot of pressure on OpenAI and Anthropic when they finally list relative to, like, the markets only have but so much capital, and all these $3 trillion companies launching within a relatively short window. We'll see how they do, but it's just it's an incredible time for the space and for the strides that have been made within AI and within space exploration and within all these kind of technology partners coming together around data centers and building out the ecosystem. I kind of, as I've been thinking about the news, I've kept thinking back to November 2022 when ChatGPT launched, like all the excitement around there, and it's been a relatively short period of time since then. All these strides and all these trillion dollar companies that have been created. So in some ways, as I'm talking through this, it seems like it's a setup for something negative happening soonish. I'm a long-term investor, so I'm not as worried about kind of the up and downs of the markets in the short term, but it's almost been too euphoric around the AI trades and around Elon business and everything else. What do you feel? What is your gut, or what is your sense telling you about just markets generally?
I mean, I think it seems really scary. Anytime you're in the trillions, we're talking built-in potential. This is like the draft pick in the NBA that already makes $200 million. Like, where's the upside? I don't know. Like, you've got to win a lot of championships just to meet your expectations. So But like as you said, this is Elon, so he can. If anyone could do it, it's probably him, right? So you're kind of betting on the horse here that he's going to make something happen. So my fingers crossed. I don't know. I truly, I'm a little scared. I don't have as much time as you, so I can't look too far out. But this is wild. This is wild.
Yeah. What do you, if you had to do a prediction of where the stock price will be six months from now, do you think it's above these levels or below? Do you think kind of, you know, after that lockup period and people selling and trading the stock, where do you think it is 6 months from now? Above today's price or below?
I think it'll be below. I mean, when employees are allowed to sell, a lot of them will sell. There'll be a lot of pent up supply that I'm not sure demand is going to drop or meet that supply that's going to hit 6 months from now. But
Yeah,
Elon's smart. Maybe he'll plan a big launch and announcement around that time the employees come with their shares, and that'll boost some of the demand. But I think it's gonna have a drop like a Nike swoosh, right? It'll probably start high, end up a little lower, and then slowly over time work its way back up. But that $2 trillion, I just don't know how you go to 10 trillion. Like that's insane. Like
yeah. I mean, it was only $19 billion of revenue last year, right? So it's like
that is
you really are
crazy.
investing in kind of Elon and the long term. I'm really excited about Starlink. I think Starlink has a lot of potential relative to the overall investment. I'm not sure. And then all these launches, and if it can get data centers into space, I mean, then literally, no pun intended, the sky's the limit. But yeah, if I had to guess, I'd probably say it was lower with the asterisk of if they pull some type of Hail Mary thing and combine SpaceX and Tesla at that time, that could kind of maintain that momentum around that time. But I don't know if that will happen within the next 6 months. I'm expecting that to happen, but probably not till like 27, 28.
Yeah, I don't like right now is everything is brand new. I don't know what to think. So I'm excited just to watch. Maybe I'm going to sit on the sidelines from a lot of this one. I'm not going to be heavily invested, but I'll watch
Yeah.
closely, which leads me to the other two, which we have a news story on Anthropic. What's the latest on them?
Yeah. So, 2 months ago, Anthropic said that its most powerful AI model ever was too dangerous to the public, and they gave it all these private companies to kind of test it out and poke holes in the code and make sure it wasn't going to ruin the entire U.S. economy. And today, or a few days ago, they released it anyway. So Anthropic just released Claude Fable 5, which is basically its public facing version of the Mythos model, which is kind of like its most capable model. Think of it as the next line of capability after Opus. And this one is supposed to be, with Fable, with the Fable model, what it's supposed to do is help with cybersecurity exploits, making sure people don't have like dangerous biological information, potential weaponization, basically taking the capabilities of that Mythos model, but not allowing the average person to take full advantage of it because a lot of nefarious and terrible things could happen. And so, this has been there's Anthropic's been killing it for a while. They've been in the news around their confidential filing. The revenue went from 10 billion to 47 billion. The company is valued at $1 trillion. So this is all kind of part of the IPO readiness as well. But these companies continue to release these models. I think the most interesting thing here is that I think there was probably some commentary around, hey, at some point these models will reach a plateau, and then relative to the capabilities and costs, like it would probably make sense to go for a less capable model, and you're not necessarily get that much more marginal benefit out of it. But I think that we're not at all there yet.
Not there.
Yeah, relative to like the benchmarks around these models, they're still incredibly powerful, and they're getting more so. So I think we'll continue to see that for some time.
Yeah, their origin story of safety first seems to get a lot of attention because they're obviously way more cautious of the technology they're building, which I think garners well for what investing is going to do, right? Because a lot of people want to put their money in with a company that has some integrity and isn't gonna, isn't going to be profit first right now, especially in this time. So I'm curious to see how this does versus OpenAI, considering
Mhm.
most of these are the OpenAI exodus starting Anthropic, so they're kind of going head to head. It'll
Yep.
be fun to watch. The last story Oh, sorry, you had something to add?
No, no, no. Just just that point. I think that from a consumer perspective, the good thing for us is that all that competition will hopefully lower costs in the midterm for consumers, and we just get these crazy tools at our fingertips that allow us to be more efficient and have more capabilities than ever. And I know myself as a solopreneur, like it's been an incredible time to just be building. So
Yeah,
I think
no,
it's a good time
it's
for
amazing.
consumers.
Yeah, these tools are amazing, and we're just gotta like keep up to date. And then the last one, what does LinkedIn have coming up for creators? I know you were talking about this earlier. What's the latest there?
Yeah. So a few days ago, LinkedIn really just kind of formalized the bet that they've been making on the creator economy. It's kind of the clearest sign yet that B2B marketing is starting to look more like consumer marketing. So they recently relaunched LinkedIn Creator Marketplace, which is a platform that allows brands to discover, evaluate, and partner directly with creators inside of LinkedIn. So if you used TikTok Creator Marketplace or any other creator tools for like YouTube and Instagram, similar to that, it's an interface where you can go and find creators and figure out how to partner with them and do kind of deal making there. And you can view the creators' views, performance metrics, stuff like that. And I just think it's fascinating because, as you know, I've been posting on LinkedIn for a long time, probably since 2016. So around 10 years now, being pretty consistent on the platform. And at the time, a place to update your resume, a place to kind of shout out, yeah, the next job and, snoop around on your coworkers. And now it's become more of an expert marketplace, a place where creators are creating regular content that is, that is valuable from a business perspective, et cetera. And brands are starting to recognize this. And with the wave of how well creators have performed in other platforms, how valuable that ecosystem is relative to traditional performance ads and platforms which we're very familiar with. It's now become kind of the preeminent platform for B2B marketing and to connect directly with audiences through these creators. So it's been fascinating to see that evolution from the platform. And shout out to all the people who've spent some time investing in it over time and grown an audience and put themselves out there. I think the lesson is, some platforms that don't necessarily make sense or can be perceived as cringe over time. There's a lot of value that accrues there if it's especially as it's attached to kind of high reputation type of behaviors. And now we're seeing it play out in a more formalized way through the company.
Piece. So we'll see. I know you're active on there. We'll link all of your topics below. Make sure you follow Justin on LinkedIn. He's got daily updates, and I think that'll do it for the week.